Definition of a social engineer: a person who attempts to manage social change and regulate the development of a society by means of centralized planning, i.e., the government. A person who uses deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. Well, I think we're going to stick with number one here, and I have to wonder, is social engineering occurring in our country? True or false? Let's see. Plessy versus Ferguson was decided on May 18, 1896. The separate but equal. They said that you could ride on a streetcar as long as the cars were equal in quality. You could keep people separate from different races. Okay, so May 18, 1896. Well, isn't it interesting that May 18, 1896 leaves 227 days left in the year? What is that number? Why is it important? Well, it is a shorthand for pi. 22 divided by 7 is 3.14. Pi has to deal with circles. It happens that when a story comes full circle, it's basically saying it's either going to come full circle again or you're going to see it again. So this court case was intentionally decided on a day that has pi and circles in it because it was meant to be a case to be used again and again in the media. That's why the Jalea Davis story about a local murder here in my community, the newspaper reports it on Pi Days on 3/14 and on the 227th day of the year. Isn't that interesting the way they do that? So if local media does it, so does national media, and apparently what I believe are social engineers doing this. So did we ever see that again? Well, how about the Ferguson riots? Okay, well, the Ferguson riots, the first wave of the riots happened between August 9 and August 25th of 2014. Now, one of those days would have been August 15, which would have been the 227th day of the year. Isn't that interesting that we saw that again? And it was 118 years after Plessy versus Ferguson. So let's go back to this, and what do we see? 118 years later, and the third wave ended on August 11, 811. So 118 years later, 118, and it ended on 811. Did we see it again on the 227th day of the year? Yes, we did. And of course, they're going to use that in the media various different ways. Here's somebody saying that using Ferguson as a name to say that somebody wasn't paid enough, I assume because they were probably black or whatever. Not a lot of information here. Very interesting how that works. So keep in mind that this is what your media does. And it's, I think, social engineering. Planned in colleges, planned in universities, decades in advance, maybe even hundreds of years in advance in some cases for some events, possibly. We don't have very many hundreds to go on here in America, but how much of this was planned in Europe hundreds of years ago? I don't know. So we can see that there are forces that are clearly manipulating society. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.